Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now September 24th of 2023, and given that there's a lot of things going on over at Disney right now, as they are preparing for movies like The Marvels and Snow White the live-action remake, both of which are going to be box office failures, we all know that, they know it, and they're really in a phase of panic right now on trying to figure out on exactly how to market these two projects ahead of time. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into the subject. Now, we know that Phoebe Waller-Bridge, connected to Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny, is the main reason why, or one of the main reasons why, this movie failed so hard. It not only had to do with her contributions to the story that were widely accepted by James Mangold, the writer and director of the film, but it also had a lot to do with Kathleen Kennedy overfunding that project, and literally just tossing a lot of scenes into the trash that she spent money on that lost Disney tens of millions just from that. So we know that there's a lot of things going on with Phoebe Waller. We know that her Disney career is in flames right now, and it's getting a whole lot worse, and there's more truths behind all of this that we will be covering today. Now, as you all know, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is still working on the Tomb Raider live-action series for Amazon. She plans on making this into a very diverse, type of, series that will actually adapt to the times, as she likes to call it, and that's something to be all the more worried about, right? Because this is another example of a creator, or she likes to call herself a creator, to destroy elements of pop culture out there. But let's get into what happened with Waller-Bridge. Now, with Disney currently attempting to severely change their Star Wars and Marvel slate, they are also dealing with much drama behind the scenes with multiple creators and actors, one of which being actress Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Now, one major development has to do with new truths behind Waller-Bridge and her firing and removal from Disney projects. The biggest update of all has to do with how they not only fired her from several Disney live-action projects, but also animated projects as well. But they are now removing her from having any further roles at Lucasfilm for Star Wars projects. This includes the Lando Calrissian movie, which was originally a series, by the way, in which Waller-Bridge was going to return as L337, that is now scrapped, and she has also been dropped from the Indiana Jones 5 sequel, which is still in early development at Lucasfilm, as Kathleen Kennedy is still doubling down on the idea of expanding the franchise further. Bob Iger and the board decided to drop Waller-Bridge not just from Star Wars material, but as it turns out, Waller-Bridge was in the talks for several months to become a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in their upcoming film slate that will be further updated at the beginning of 2024. Now, let me just stop here for 1 second before we get to the next big piece about all of this. Now, number one, I don't know why Disney is doubling down on a Lando Calrissian movie for Star Wars. I think that's just ridiculously stupid. That's just my overall opinion on that. But we know that it would have worked better, in my opinion, as a series. I don't think a lot of people are going to be hyped up for a Lando movie, so to speak. Are you? I'm certainly not. I just kind of look at that as like, whatever. But when we look at stuff like Bob Iger and the board and how they were in the talks of including Phoebe Waller in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in other major projects, this just goes to show you how they were universally trying to make Phoebe Waller-Bridge embedded in almost everything Disney. So they were not only including her initially in Disney live-action and animated material, but also a return to Star Wars, as well as a return to Indiana Jones. And all of which got dropped. She got removed from all of that. She got fired from all these different projects. And we're going to get down to the very reason why, and there's more truths behind that as well. Now, we know that the Marvel Cinematic Universe would have crumbled, especially if Phoebe Waller-Bridge was like the star of these upcoming movies and TV shows, and yes, she was fully intended to take part in MCU films and MCU TV shows on Disney+. So, let's get down to more of the details here about what actually happened with Phoebe Waller. Now, a lot of this had to do with the box office failure of Indy 5, like I said earlier, but a lot of it also had to do with the fact of how a lot of her ideas weren't necessarily approved by Disney, that she tossed over to James Mangold, and how this kind of put Mangold in the hot seat, and that may very well be connected to why they are in the process of dropping Mangold's Star Wars movie called Dawn of the Jedi, where he's going to direct and write it. They're aiming to make it a $350 million budget just because it's a Star Wars film. Again, the cost containment plan by Disney is all about picking and choosing what to spend more or less on to kind of balance things out. So, interestingly enough, this is where matters get even worse, is that all of those conversations now have been dropped for Waller-Bridge to becoming a part of the Marvel Universe as one of the major characters. It's unclear, however, who this major character Waller-Bridge was going to portray that she was in the talks for. She was set to make appearances in both film and television, as it turns out. For Marvel, Waller-Bridge reportedly was extremely offended over Disney's recent decision to fire and remove her from all Lucasfilm projects and dropped all conversations for her becoming a part of the MCU. Now, this comes as a result of Phoebe being the direct cause, besides Kennedy, for contributing much to the plot and story of Indy 5. She was responsible for convincing James Mangold to implement elements and to alter scenes of her ideas into the story that would actually revise the overall story, the script, and even some of the dialogue was improvised for Indiana Jones 5 on the set, which is why at times the dialogue was very lackluster in the second and third acts of the film. Phoebe was also removed from a new big spy film franchise that surprisingly Rachel Zegler was also going to be a part of that before they also removed her. Disney is now looking to reportedly getting a new updated cast of unknowns to take on these roles for the spy film franchise. Now, for those of you that have not been, with us for a while, Disney fully intends to take on Mission Impossible. They want to go head-to-head against Paramount and Skydance. That's why they are making this new spy film franchise, and that's why they think that they can take on Tom Cruise. Now look, I get it, Dead Reckoning didn't perform quite as well as Paramount had hoped to be, but I think that part 2 will perform even better, because that's going to be like the conclusion of the story. It's going to give a lot of people a drive to kind of see what that's going to look like and what that resolution will look like in the Mission Impossible films. We already know that Tom Cruise confirmed that these movies are going to keep on going, but Ethan Hunt may very well retire. So what's really interesting about Disney now is the fact that they are seemingly trying to really rid of any of these actors or actresses that really cause them a big box office loss. They are beginning to realize who is box office poison. And I think at the end of the day, they are trying to just keep themselves afloat for a while, but it's hypocritical. It's also, a very counterproductive, system, because they're still hiring these actors and actresses that are also going to be insufferable in upcoming projects, so it still makes no sense to me. We know that at the same exact time, Disney never learns, the board never learns, and you all have to dwindle it down to BlackRock and Vanguard. So anyway, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.